Hello everyone, it's Michael Sherman here, and today I'll be doing a review for the Massachusetts Go Foundation for the F League. This was the fourth round, and I have He's versus Sunship. So let's take a look at the game here. So both players are both 10Q, and that's a level where they're starting to know what they're doing, which is really cool. Let's take a look. So Black played the Sanrense. White played here. Usually I'm used to White jumping in the corner right away just to settle and make some points, and then Black gets a wall, and then White focuses on making that wall and territory less or useless. But White jumped this way, and I checked with the AI, and it's like a 0.8 difference, so it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. Same with these moves, I do not have a problem with. So White attached to Black. Black says I want the corner. White attaches, trying to find weakness on Black by taking away Black's liberties. And Black strengthens. And now we have a situation down here. In the game, White Tanuki'd, and the computer pretty much said it was fine, the AI. But I find that A is a very valuable point for both players. If White gets A, he's almost pretty much settled. Like right now, maybe this isn't the time to do this, or maybe it is, depending if you really like points. Black ends up getting quite a big corner here, and then White gets Sente. But White is pretty much settled. White can either run out to the center, or White only needs one move to really start attacking this stone in any of the sort of this fashion. It feels like it's White's strength more than its weakness, and that's because this one stone is here, so it has some sort of base. And two, if Black Tanukis, let's say Black plays, I don't know, let's say Black plays here. This isn't the best move, but I'm just curious. Or what if Black makes a base, right? This is a weak stone next to White strength, so Black comes and makes a base. Well, now at any point, White can just play here, and White is settled. White is a living group. Black didn't make really any points. I mean, they even made like maybe 9 points here, but it's in that nothing's even concrete yet. White still has something like this where, he can make a what do you call it, a spike in this area, right? So Black really didn't make too many points, and White's fairly settled, and it's all stems to this one move here. So even like this, like I said, White can still accomplish what White wanted to do, which was to play over here, but now there's no undercut or anything. And if we look at the vice versa, right, if White plays something like this, and maybe now's not the time to do it, but certainly I would consider just attacking here right away, because you can see that Black gets a humongous corner, an extra 8 points from the previous one. And if White answers, it's bad shape. This is the farmer's hat / empty triangle here, so it's actually really bad shape. And then Black is undercutting White, so White doesn't have a base yet. Or if White fights for the Ko, there really is no Ko right now. I mean, at least big Ko threats on the board. I might be inclined just to take it, and if White does another one, then I wouldn't answer. Then I would answer out here. But the idea is that Black with this move not only gets a big corner, but it also unsettles White. So this was my concern here. And although the computer said it was fine, we'll look at the AI after my review. This becomes so big in the game. I think it's like one of the losing moves here, because White didn't get this move. So we'll see. So Black responded, and White double approached. So it approached on both sides. Now this move I've been taught is outdated. Like when I was a younger Q player, it was played often because it's like trying to split groups C and D here. But nowadays, thanks to the AI and just in general, like pros have always played more now with physical attacking moves to keep the pressure up and come out. So the idea is that if white plays or black plays here, black's like kind of building a wall, which is facing his other stones and attacking this stone because of it. So it feels like a good direction to play this way. I think the variation went like this when I looked at the AI. Oh, I'm sorry, it went like this. So the outside Hane, or the inside Hane, I guess you could call it. And then black came for this. And so white ends up with a nice solid corner, and black has a somewhat settled group on the side. And black also gets Sente, so then, you know, black can take this Sente. And the computer had like white ignore this move because this is bad shape and this is a risky ko. So black ended up playing here and it just kept going. So we don't have to go too deep, but the idea is that white originally really wants to make a wall this way, right? I mean, black originally wants to make a wall by putting pressure on this stone. So this is a much better move than this one. And if we look, if you hit the Joseki button, right, it'll give you this page. And I already set it up here, but I'll show you again. Black pincers white, and then white double approaches, and then it shows these moves. So it's talking about A and B, you know, our AI typical moves, and the AI typically slightly prefers A, so this move, the one I showed you, versus this move, which was played in the game. It's a common mistake. This is an old Joseki move that is frequently played by Q players. So the whole reason I just bring all this up is just to introduce you to some new open patterns and to show that this one is outdated and not seen as very good. And even then, if you do play this move, you have to try and use it correctly. So we'll talk a little bit about that after a few moves. But for this, so white played very, very close to black. When white plays like this is normally considered a mistake. I know you have to, or you're planning to, because you want to make a base, you know, you want to get out. This is more typical, by the way. But this move, because you're so close to black, black now can play here. This is what should have been played in the game, because you can see black is ahead of the race, and it's usually bad for white to be pushing from behind. Black is securing a good, decent amount of territory here, and it's still putting pressure / attacking these two stones. So this move should have been played. Because white played so close to black, now black's ahead of the race. But black played here. I just explained why he should play here. I kind of sense what you're trying to do here. I'm assuming, at least this is what this move says to me. This move is saying that you want to barricade white from the center. So it feels like these stones and these stones are building a wall facing this way. But my problem with that is that white stones are out here this way. So it's really hard to make any points around here. It will be for a long time. So I think it would have been much better to attack this directly. And then you could even play something like this. And this would be extremely good for black. You would have that wall you want. And white is still not technically alive yet. It's pretty close, but still not technically alive yet. And even if white does live, he's encased. So now, like, black gets a really nice outside, and white doesn't make many points. But when you play something like this, it leaves this opening, right? Like, white can push, knight's move. So even though, like, black gets his wall on the outside, white gets more, I would say, more safety for sure. I feel like this can't even be harassed anymore, not well anyway. But we'll move on. So in this game, I don't think the computer saw this as a mistake. I think this was actually the AI's move. which kind of surprised me a little, because I felt like white should, since white already spent 2 moves here, white might as well, you know, just take this side and leave this stone, because this stone is surrounded by 3 different stones, so it's pretty tough to like make it useful. So instead I would have played here or here, and then white's really settled, and black, in my opinion, feels a little uncomfortable. Heck, well, white can now even press on outside here, or just take that safety I was talking about, right? Like just one more move of safety and then come out here and build off of this stone and help this stone, or just keep black over concentrated and small in this area. But anyway, let's talk more about this. So through the whole game, the AI is just screaming about these cuts here. I mean, they're not technically cuts, but they're separation moves, right? So let's talk about it. So the computer recommended here, and so don't I. Clearly, if you play like these 2 moves, these stones are in super danger, and black's making points. And although white got a corner, black has a stone out here, which is keeping white very cramped. So by cutting here, or separating here, then you're weakening this side and this side, so white has to respond, and then black takes the other side. So I think I wrote down like something, let's see. Yeah, B is a floating move. So this move here, which is move 19, oh, move 21. Let me see. Floating move, okay. Yeah, so this move right here feels like a floating move, meaning that it's not really putting pressure on white too much, nor is it taking territory. So you've given white the opportunity just to play here, and now all of white's problems are completely fixed. So yeah, that's not good. And then if white even gets the lead here, so white almost solidifies the corner, and then white can now come out here, so white doesn't have to worry about either group, and black just has something floating. It's not doing much of anything. So that's what this move feels like. So I guess a good principle or golden rule to take into account is that you shouldn't play moves that don't either, how should I put it? You should play moves that apply pressure or make territory. And so if you're not playing moves that are doing either, then it's probably not a good move. Same with this to this. This move doesn't really put pressure on white that much, and it's not building you any territory. So I really don't like this type of move. And this was when I first mentioned the floating moves here. So okay, we'll move on though. So this was also a mistake. The computer really wanted white to connect here or connect here, because this move, I wouldn't say it's a floating move because it's putting a little pressure on E here, but because there's cuts here and like weakness, you're just asking to be cut and become weak. So that's the problem with this type of move right now. When we look at the AI, like I said, through almost the whole game, it's just screaming about this small area here. This is the focus of the game, and it became the focus, and nobody played here for a long time. So B also feels a little like floating. It doesn't feel like, I get you're trying to trap white, but white's only one move away from not having to worry about dying. So I really don't like this move as much. But yeah, so let's continue. Also, this can be cut too. I mean, not that you have to worry too much about being cut, but the idea is that like these stones are really weak right now, and this stone isn't doing too much, right? This area here. But yeah, but white ended up playing this, and the computer said this was a really big negative move, and I can tell you why for multiple reasons. One, it's an empty triangle. I'm sure you guys know at your level that empty triangles are generally bad. And yes, you can say it's putting pressure on this, but I mean, you could have just cut here, and then this is dead. right? Like this is dead. Or you could keep pushing, but then it just dies outright right there and then. And if black plays this way, white can come out, right? There's too many cutting points and double Ataris and stuff. So white would just get the capture here anyway. So this move, this isn't the recommended move. It's a good shape point, but this move is, I'm just saying, is better than this one if this was your plan to attack this stone, because this stone is connecting a diagonal connection that's already like practically connected, because it's a diagonal connection. There's no reason to fill the connection unless you're trying to put pressure on this, which in essence is bad, because when this gets strong, this cut now just straight up kills this group and pressures this group. So then white has to respond, and then black can take a nice bigger move. So this move really, really helped black. That's all I'm trying to say. And maybe you can spot that alone from just making an empty triangle as bad shape. But yeah, the computer recommended for white to play here. And it also recommended either D or C. A was the best result, but C was also something, which I kind of showed you. You know, that this is more beneficial for white than black, it looks like. So yeah, we'll move on from there. This was a bad move. So what I would recommend is not to make empty triangles if you don't have to, not to connect diagonal moves if you don't have to, because they create empty triangles, and focus on your safety. If you're one move away from like having guaranteed life, you might as well take the life. Same with down here. This isn't technically one move guaranteed life, but it's way more appropriate, because it helps this group out tremendously and actually hurts black. And even if black saves himself from being too hurt, now white gets sente. So it's like just a really good move. It's a good move to settle your stones and make sure that they're strong. So we'll talk more. This was a little close. Technically a 2-stone wall, you should jump 3 spaces, but sometimes if I'm this close to like approaching a corner, I don't mind going that 1 extra mile, but it's fine. This is good. He attached, so you're strengthened. This is good. You get to hit the head of 2 stones. And then this is bad. So technically you're hitting the head of 2 stones, but look at how strong white is, right? Helper stone here, a 1 jump. Helper stone here, a tiger's mouth protecting it. So when white is this strong, you can't expect to play here without getting cut, because now these stones are weak and this stone is weak. So it's an amazing cut for white, and terrible that black played here. This was a big mistake. So you don't want to get hit on the head of 2 stones, right? So I'd play something like this. Once again, the computer is still recommending to play this, because clearly it's a lot of points. And it's sente, right? Like white has to respond. And then I might take my other sente here. Oops. And the computer found this one, which is a better response than this or this, I think. So let's say if white played here, well, now you could even play this, which is threatening to connect under. So you just took 2 big sentes in the corners, taking large points, and then you can come back and fix this. But anyway, well, let's continue. So this was great. White did a really good job here, and black had to fix his weakness. But now I question if you did your reading, because white has all the strength here, right? A, B, C, D. There's all this strong stuff over here. So now's the time where white can cut, and there's like nothing to worry about. White can play this to threaten this stone. And then black still needs a move, because if he was to play somewhere else, he could get netted, right? And this would be a big problem for black, right? Atari or Atari, right? It's a big problem. It's a net, right? So the fact is that black has to respond in some manner. It all feels kind of ugly, right? And that's because this Hane was bad, and now white can just take this. So now white has broken into this area, so black can't really make a lot of points here, and white has successfully made a crap ton of points down here, along with this nice capture. So you had all this strength here, but you didn't use it. You pushed him, and then you took Gote. I mean, to me it feels like Gote, but I guess black still has to respond. And then you played here. And although this looks like a decent result, it could have been much better, right? If we look at the alternative, right? Like, this is far, far better. So anyway, we'll move on. I guess if I was to name this as a fundamental, you know, or a principle, is that if you have a lot of strength, then you can fight. Because this is a lot of strength. This ain't gonna die. This is not going to die, I should say. And even this is like fairly strong, you know? So if you have a lot of strength, then look for alternatives to fight. The other principle is if there's two Ataris, you should always evaluate each one. So you can't be lazy. You got to do your reading and figure out which one is more valuable. That's a constant like thing in Go, because there's always Ataris, right? So you have to figure out which one's the better one. Okay. I can disagree with these moves, but I'll leave them as is. But this move here, this move was really, really bad. I think this move cost white the game, to be honest, because it leads to, you know, all this stuff. So what I thought we should do, we're at move 52 now, is that white should play here now. And then that way, if black responds, white can now, you know, bully these stones around. He can kick these stones around, or he can come out here to reduce. Because what this move says to me is you're trying to reduce this area, but it's not a good reduction, especially when you have a weak group here still, and technically two weak groups up here. So what I would first do is focus on strengthening here, and now you have this group that, you know, is gonna continue to keep the middle reduced as long as this group lives. So, and if black Tanuki somewhere, I don't know, like sees these are in danger and like wants to help them out or something, right? Like I said, white can now just pretty much settle down here, and white has no problem like having life or making life. So yeah, let's talk. I could talk about some of these moves, but they're, you know, it's you know, nothing crazy, nothing too big or fundamentally breaking. Like this, for instance, this is very cuttable, so it's very obvious that this could be an issue. And even if it is an issue, then you could just make it into a nice ko to make it bigger. You know. And even if you lose, no, and if black wins this ko, it's extremely beneficial. I mean, first of all, you can see like you could put a lot of hurt on this group. Second of all, white needs to owe a move now, right? Like white can't just leave 6 alone. And it just goes on and on and on that like this ko would have been really beneficial. And if you lose the ko, let's say like, I don't know, yeah, let's say you lose the ko. I mean, black's still in a decent position here right now. So, you know, this isn't that great for white, is what I'm trying to say. So you want to try and look for those when you make... I don't know how to put it. But this feels like a mistake, right? Because it ended up like this, where black just dies here, and white got a really good position, in my opinion. A better position than he should have, is what I should say. So I don't know, I would have went for the ko, but I'll leave it at that. It's not like it's a major problem. I mean, a major game-breaking issue. Yeah, this evasion looked doomed from the start, I want to say. I was working with Eric Osman on this review the other day, and we were talking about this, and I feel like this is the move that makes it very difficult, I guess, for black to die, like this diagonal move. I haven't studied it enough, to be honest with you, so I'm not sure. But I do know that because there's a stone like this, which happens often, this usually boils down to either a ko or death. But I would advise like asking a stronger player about this, like invading this this knight's move, like enclosure. So yeah, I'd ask a stronger player, but Eric showed me this, and I remember it was very difficult to try and kill this group, actually. So you could try this diagonal out, or the one that I feel like I remember is this one. And so it creates a ko situation, which, you know, is better than death, right? Playing just this way, you just die, right? Or you're supposed to. But at least this one, making the scorpion shape, creates a ko-like shape, so that way you can fight to live. And that's the one that I knew before I was introduced to this, but this one's still a little too new, so anyway, for me, new for me. I'm sure it's an old Joseki. So black died in this area, and this was the huge mistake. Huge mistake. So black touched or physically hit your stones. They cut your stone. So your natural response should be to strengthen yourself, right? Either strengthen yourself or counterattack in some fashion. I'm not saying these are right, but the golden rule for attachment when somebody touches you is that you either want to strengthen or counterattack. So this move strengthens you. It gets you 1, 2, 3, 4 liberties. This move bumps your head against the wall, which doesn't strengthen you, right? You only get 1, 2, 3. Go is all about efficiency. So by bumping your head, you're not being efficient. You're actually hurting yourself. So this would have been the correct move. And I don't see any shenanigans in here for black, right? Like, I just don't. I don't see. I almost feel like I didn't look into this too far, but even if white just plays the most simplest thing, black gets a bamboo joint and white gets this big kill in this nice area, in this nice area. You could look further into it with something like this, but it does look a little. Actually, it looks like it's fine too. So like this would even work where white gets just everything, right? White captures everything. Unless there's other ways to play this, but I sure don't see any. So, right, like this Atari works, but he can't play here because of this, right? Like these stones are gonna die. So because of this one jump here / clamp, you know, it doesn't work. So black has to back off, and then, you know, white gets everything. But, you know, I digress. The point is that bumping your head and shorten yourself liberties is not strengthening yourself. So you need to play here, and now black is dead no matter what, right? If black plays here, white just plays here. if black tries any of these shenanigans, we looked at it, and white has a very simple way of defeating this. And same here, right? Like, this is very simple stuff. So my point in all of it is, for white, when somebody attaches you and you need to strengthen, don't play moves that will bump your head. If a black stone was here, it's the same thing, so you'd be bumping your head and shorting yourself liberties. So you shouldn't play like that. You should play to get stronger. So we'll move on. This was really, really good for black because of this mistake, and now black got the move here. And then this was, I think, the final mistake I'll talk about for this game, and that is this that I've been talking about all along, right? Because white played here, black got this move, and then white still tried to connect, and he can't. And then black was able to take a really big corner, and white had to struggle extra hard for life. Which this move, I don't think did anything. I think you should just cap here. And I think white has a hard time trying to do anything here. But it's fine. Even though white was able to live, I think white lives, right? Oh no, white dies here, huh? Okay, alright, fair enough. But this all stems back to this move that I've been talking about for a long time. If white played here, I think white would have been able to have a much larger chance of living. You know, and you just keep making shape points for eyes, you know. But yeah, white would have just that one extra area that was like really good. And once again, if black Tanuki'd, if black, you know, took all these points, then white has no worries about living or dying. So anyway, by playing this move and playing that f6, the one that I told you wasn't really a good reduction and didn't do much at this point of the game, by losing these two areas, like by playing these two moves, I think was the combination that led to white losing and black taking a, you know, a large win. So we can just go back and very quickly recap everything so that we can reinforce the lessons. Once again, maybe it's just my playstyle, but I like to play very solidly and not leave black moves that can undercut me and make lots of points. So I think this is a good area to play to settle, and then you can do what you plan to do. But that move was omitted. White made a base here. It's not the most appropriate move. I think this is the move for it. This move, the reason it's inappropriate is because black can now, you're playing too close to black, and so now black's ahead of the race, which is really bad for white. Right? This is really bad for white. If white was to play here now, like you could see, you know, I don't think even white's gonna live this. So we'll go back to the game. This was like a floating move. You need to hit your opponent when they get that close to you, because now it's 2 versus the 1, which is good for black. This one doesn't hit white, and so if white even just played here, like white is now pretty much alive and like is taking away everything that you built throughout the whole game. So is that because you put 2 white stones here, I think you should just be happy that you like came out like taking all this territory away from black. This one felt a little greedy to me, but it was the computer's move as well. Still though, I mean, I feel like this really hurts white and white's not making too much points, but it's fine. So we'll move on. This move I felt was really bad. It's a floating move, meaning that it's not really making territory. I don't feel like it's putting too much pressure on white because white can live in like either one move. So it's building a wall this way. That's what I'm assuming you were doing. You were trying to cut white from the center, but this wall doesn't look like it would be effective because white has stones, you know, that are also equally at the center, and the center shouldn't be your first focus. The first focus should be the corners, then the sides, and then the center. So we'll move on. I didn't really like this move for multiple reasons. Like I said, these cuts need to happen now, and this also could be cut apart. Like it can be cut away from its main group. So I don't really like this move as much, but it's fine. This move is not fine though. This move was really bad. It's like negative like 8 points or something, the AI says. It makes an empty triangle. You guys know that shape is bad. It puts pressure on this stone, but honestly that pressure just kind of helps black, because now if you don't connect and play somewhere else like you did in the game, black can now take a lot of points and sente, right? So it's not a good move. White recommended here or here or here. The computer, I mean, not white. This was a little short, but it's fine. This doesn't feel right, but I won't say too much about it. What it is it's the idea of being behind in the race again. So just like this move, it's like you're instantly behind your opponent, which isn't good. So this is usually more of the way to go, because black is not obligated now to play here, and you secured your corner. I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I know for a fact that usually it's bad to be behind in the race. So that's why I usually don't hit opponents like this. Usually I'd play something like that, or maybe this, or I'd just play something bigger, like the 100% here, or here, or here. So this was all good for black until this move. So, you know, this was good, and then not good. And the reason was because it was so easily cut, and it's so close to white's strength. And you have many sente moves that puts white in bad situations. So I would take those and then come back and like play here or something. Or not at all and just come over here. But I don't like getting hit on the head with 2 stones, so I'd play that. Okay. White, make sure to do your reading when you have this much strength and there's multiple cutting points. You want to figure out which one's more beneficial. This one gets these 2 stones killed. This one saves these 2 stones, which breaks up the center and gives you more points by capturing over here. So I wouldn't say this is the biggest move, and I wouldn't say following this is the biggest move. But I don't really want to talk too much about that. It is a good move. I'm not going to say it isn't, but there's more urgent stuff on the board. Maybe even, maybe not this one, but there's more bigger points on the board right now. That's all. And B is a floating move. To me, it looks like he's trying to reduce the center, like, because black's starting to make a really big center. But you already have a group that's reducing the center. So as long as this group is safe, then you can come out here all you want. You put pressure and attack these two stones on the bottom. You can come on this side and still attack these 2 stones on the bottom. You could split them apart. Because as long as this group's a little strong, then you can start playing moves like these. And then yeah. So yeah, this move, I didn't like it. I think it led to black taking the game. Alright, this is past 30 minutes, actually 40 minutes, wow, and my voice is starting to go, so I think I'm going to end it here. I was supposed to look at the AI, so I guess we could do that really quickly. Really quickly. Let's take a look. So first mistake was this one. We talked about the old Joseki and how if you play A, I'm gonna drink water while it's loading. You could play this where black kind of settles itself and gives away the corner, but then takes Sente, which takes this really big move over here. So I'll leave that. This move I told you was not a good move because it feels floating. So, and I told you A is correct, so we can look at that. White doesn't even, obviously I was showing you why it's bad because black's ahead. But white doesn't have to demonstrate that. White just has to find the best move it can, so that's why it plays over here. So white takes the corner, loses this, and is putting pressure on this group so that I can come out into the center and attack this. To me, black looks a little over-concentrated, but I can see why 17 has to be here. So anyway, we'll move on. So yeah, this move was a bad move. And this move we talked about being a bad move, floating. We talked about this move being bad because there's places of separation, which are devastating to white's group. So white shouldn't allow himself to be cut off. He should stay connected. We talked about this move, how I didn't like it, and so the most of the game now for the computer is just going to be screaming about this area. If we look at almost every other move, so it's still talking about this area. We did talk about this. I thought it was more of a negative point move. I thought it was like 8 points, but still, I mean, -3 is pretty bad. And there's better moves for sure. So we'll move on. This was, it says it's bad, but I think it's good. The only thing is the whole game now it's going to focus on this, so like every move's going to be bad now. I don't think that's positively true, but I'll talk to you that, you know, white should be playing here to, you know, make sure those don't die. But yeah, let's see. So this was like a -3.9 move. I probably agree. I definitely agree because it can be cut off way too easy. And this is the first time where the computer's like, okay, this move is bigger than connecting here, which is crazy because, you know, the rest of the game it's always talking about this. But anyway, so this cut was so good. That's why. It says mistake, mistake, mistake. Everything's gonna be a mistake because of this top corner. I think I've said that like 4 times now. Sorry to keep repeating myself, but I guess I'm just trying to make sure that you understand that I wouldn't say all these moves are mistakes. It's just the computer thinks they are because there's more important stuff to be doing. This move was a -8.5 move. That's huge. And this is what I was talking about. It doesn't really do much. And so that's why I really wanted to stress it. Kind of tired of looking at these. I'm wondering about this move. Wow, a -10 move. So this must be, I mean, I know it leads to either a ko or death usually. But man, -10. It's because it really wants this move that we talked about. And it really wants these moves. So, alright, this is as far as I'm going to go looking at the AI. I hope you guys have a good day. I hope this helps. I know I reiterate and like talk about the same things over and over and over. But I'm hoping that by doing that, it'll reinforce the lesson. And you guys will start thinking about these things. So, anyway, have a good day.